Ladies and gentlemen, the following is another excellent episode of the Wrestling Fans Podcast, Ringside Society. In the first corner, we have the Monarch of Mardi Gras, the Baroness of Bourbon Street. When she is not co-hosting Ringside Society, she's on crazy misadventures, such as destroying people's dinners, picking fights with people while dressed up as one of the Road Warriors, and looking for the fabled Cobra Kai dojo, and looking and wishing for a Paul Heyman on a pole matches. Ugh. Hey, teach their own. Louisiana Zone, Kathy Knight. In the second corner, we have the greatest thing on God's green earth. No, we're not talking about money, Mary Jane, or Popeye Spinach. He is the triple dart of Ringside Society and Delaware's greatest American hero. It takes two to make a thing go right. He's Rob Bass, and you are not. And in the third corner, we have that ocean crossing, straight up Boston, flight catching, shot glass snatching, always on the go. Catch him if you can. Said his name in Guyana. Now they love him in Japan. No cap, the worldwide star boy, Remy Blue. And our special guest tonight for 15 minutes of fandom. That's right. The episode where we actually put the spotlight on our fellow professional wrestling fans is a man who is 1/3 of the World Elite Podcast. And he's also 1/2 of the Domefield Podcast. Correct me if I'm wrong. I may be wrong. Everybody, welcome to the show, Dylan Hebert. Don't call him Hebert. You'll get it's Hebert.
Absolutely. Thank y'all for having me.
Hey, no problem, man. Hey, thank you for hitting us up and telling us, you'd like to be a guest. But then we always encourage people, man. Like, you don't have to wait for us to come and say, hey, we want to talk to you. If you feel you want to be on the show, just let us know. We'll make it happen like a captain. We'll make a date and time, and we'll get it done. I don't know if people are shy or whatnot, or if they think there's a certain amount of criteria that they need to be a guest on here, but there's not a lot of criteria. Once you're, a dedicated fan, you're not one of those. And granted, we mean dedicated, not creepy and obnoxious that stalks wrestlers at the hotels and takes pictures and touches them in all awkward ways. No, shame on you fans that do that. But we're talking, you go to the shows, you cheer for your favorites, you boo the bad guys, which is a norm. You buy the shirts, you buy the 8x10s and so on, and even have a podcast. I mean, you don't have to go that far, but we want to hear from you. So, Dylan, once again, thank you. We're very grateful for this. But how's your weekend going, man? Like, how's everything going on your side of the country?
Things are going good here. Pretty slow moving weekend. As you can see, I'm rocking a Boston Red Sox hat. Just got a big win over the Astros yesterday. Getting ready for the game tomorrow, and my Saints are on a bye week this week, so no football for me today. So other than that, everything's going good.
Oh man, I was cheering for y'all back in 2010, man. Believe it or not. I mean, my Giants, they weren't doing doing too good. They're not doing too good right now. I feel like a disappointed dad. Like I'm like just throwing my hands up at this point. I'm like, okay, whatever you guys want to do, man. I can't anymore. I'm just gonna.
Yeah.
I tell people, man, like I'm a Giants fan, but hey, your team is doing better than mine. That's what I tell them.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And normally they give me the sympathetic, like, oh, you guys got so and so, you're okay, man. The only problem with you is I'm like, yeah, maybe next year, man. Yeah,
So.
but yeah, Saints versus I think it was 2010 was Saints versus Colts, and they had Peyton Manning on the Colts, and I was rooting for y'all. I'm not a big football buff. I watch it on and off, but I definitely make sure I catch the Super Bowl. And I was rooting for y'all because I was like, they just went through Hurricane Katrina. People lost their homes. I had an uncle, R.I.P. Uncle Rocky, who actually had a home there in New Orleans, and he had to evacuate because of the damage that Hurricane Katrina was bringing, and he never recovered from that. He had to move back to Maryland. So I was really glad when y'all won that one.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So wrestling fan, man. So tell us, man. Like, hey, so when did your love for it start, man? What was the event or the pay-per-view, or who was the relative that pulled you in and said, hey, Dylan, come check this out, man. I think you're gonna like it.
It was actually my dad that got me started into it. My dad grew up, loving like Mid South wrestling and everything. He would always attend events when they come around Louisiana and whatnot. But I got started around 2000. I was born in '93, so I guess he wanted to start me at an age to where I would actually get to know it. So my dad, unfortunately, not here no more. He passed in '08. So that's where my love for wrestling kind of, I guess you could say, died, because I just felt like I had no more use of watching it, because my grandma, who also was a big wrestling fan, she passed like 6 weeks before him. So those were the two people I loved to watch wrestling with, and I lost both of them in a 6 week span. So 2008 is when my love for wrestling just kind of went away. But 2013 is when I actually got back into it. They were doing a special type of Monday Night Raw, so my brother and I decided to just give it another chance, and we got hooked. We watched WrestleMania that year. We ordered it on pay per view. The network wasn't a thing yet, and then we told ourselves we're not going to order no more pay per views. We're gonna just hold off after WrestleMania. Like if so, we'll watch it somewhere else or whatever. But then we ended up ordering every pay per view until the network became a thing, and we went to WrestleMania 30 in New Orleans. We went to 32 in Dallas, and then we went back to New Orleans in 34. Uh, we've been to 2 Royal Rumbles, both in Texas, and we went to a couple of NXT takeovers, a lot of Monday Night Raws and SmackDowns, uh, stuff like that. So growing up, a big Shawn Michaels fan. That's always going to be my favorite of all time. That's who my dad got me started on. He wanted just to introduce me to all the wrestlers, and Shawn Michaels got me. He was the one that I got latched on to like quick. And his favorite of all time, of course, was Ric Flair. He loved Ric Flair. So just getting into wrestling, my brother was a big Triple H fan, so we kind of went head to head on that, because Triple H and Shawn, they always either feuded or were in a tag team together. So it's like we always butted heads, when it came to just the people we were fans of. But like right now, I'm a huge Kevin Owens guy. I'm not sure of his status going forward. I know his contract expires in January. So big talks about him maybe going to AEW, joining the Bucks and Cole. I know they were Mount Rushmore in the Indies. But right now, AEW has my attention. And sadly, WWE is not doing it for me. The booking's kind of off. It's always the same stuff over and over. AEW has my attention. They're doing stuff doing just new stuff every week. And it seems like that's catching my attention more than anything. I actually got into AEW full time when the year started, and I've just been watching Dynamite. I've been watching Rampage with it starting up, and I've ordered every pay per view this year. Well, actually, I didn't order the first pay per view of the year. My wife actually ordered it for me. It was our anniversary, so as a gift, she just wanted to order that for me while we were away for the weekend. So, but right now, I just watch it. I'll watch it. It's kind of hard to watch it Monday and Friday. It's losing my attention too much. I'm not gonna watch it on Thursday with Crown Jewel. I'll be working, but I don't know. I'll watch every Wednesday. I'll watch every Friday when they do Rampage, and occasionally on Saturdays when they do Dynamite, I'll watch it too. So I'm just kind of like the basic AEW fan right now. But WWE is always is where my heart lies at, because that's where I got started at.
That's awesome. First off, I got to say, my condolences, for your grandmother and your mother and your father.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry to hear about that. And 2008. So wait, that was your maternal grandmother, right?
That was on my mom's side,
I mean,
and
paternal.
then
Paternal. Okay.
yeah.
Oh, so you're a
Yeah,
you're a third generation fan, and that's cool. That's
yeah, I am.
awesome.
I am, yes.
Good stuff, man. So
Oh yeah.
2008, 2013. Let me see, because I always, when people tell me they skipped a couple of years, they took a break from it, I always like to look at what they missed. So as 2008 had Kathy and Rob, help me out. What did they miss? What was happening between 2008, 2000? Oh, so you kind of missed the pipe bomb, and that was CM Punk's ridiculously long reign, which I had no problem with. You
Mm-hmm.
came right after, like you kind of got there for the beginning of the Shield.
You're right.
Rob, what else? Rob, Kathy, what else did he miss? Yeah, help me out here. I'm getting old. My memory is not,
Oh wait, oh wait, was that Hardy's title reign, or was that a couple years before? When Hardy started getting
that was
belt.
the next
Was
year.
that 08? That was the
That
next year.
was,
Okay.
yeah. Oh yeah, Matt Hardy won the ECW title. Jeff Hardy finally won
the
He
Universal or
finally
whatever
won.
it was, or the
Yeah,
heavyweight,
yeah, whatever
whichever one
big
it
title they
was.
had on the brand.
Yeah, I can't remember back then. Yeah, I can't remember what I did yesterday.
He
So
had the You had the Nexus, which was one of WWE's most failed. I don't care if they cancel me for this. That was like one of their most failed stables, which I was very disappointed with that. And that was pretty much it. You kind of missed a lot more bad than good, because if you
Yeah.
watch Impact, you would have been like after 2010, you would have been like, why Dixie, why? And WWE was kind of like 2010 was okay, but I'm a 31-year wrestling fan now, and even 2010, I was like the beginning of the 2010s, I was like 2010, I was like, I gotta take a break from y'all. Y'all are killing me. I'm just gonna read whatever highlights y'all have, and that's it. And back at that time, NXT was like more like a competitive show. It wasn't like another brand. And then I think 2011, I started getting back into it, like watching it. I knew what was going on, but just reading the highlights on the dirt sheets. But I started watching it in 2011, and then it wasn't until I saw like a lumberjack match on one of the pay-per-views, and I saw a bunch of people from NXT, and I didn't even recognize them. I was like, wait a minute, who's that? Who's that? Who's that? I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go back to watching NXT. This is not me. I gotta know who these people are. So yeah, you didn't really miss too much other than the pipe bomb situation. But yeah, those were some interesting years. So I gotta ask you. So you went WrestleMania 30, New Orleans, right in your backyard. What was that was the WrestleMania where the streak was broken. Brock Lesnar beat the streak.
Yeah.
What was the atmosphere around you? Because I was watching that event from a bar in New York City. But what was the atmosphere when you were there live and in person watching that match and then seeing it end?
It was so quiet that you could hear a pin drop. I think I had the same reaction that every single person inside the Superdome had. Seen that guy that they showed his facial reaction. I think everyone had that same bit of reaction. It was just the craziest thing of all time, because you never expected to witness the streak ending, much less ever see it. Whether you're watching it on the network, whether you were there, whether you were watching it, like you said, at a bar. That's the thing, is that like, you never expected the streak to end. Now, the thing is, I kept telling my brother, I said Lesnar has the best, I think, chance to end it, and he was like telling me, "Oh no, it doesn't," no, he doesn't. But the moment it happened, we both looked at each other, we're like, "Oh my god, like this really happened," and it was just the craziest thing ever. And I don't know, it's because I guess we were sitting so high up, I guess, that we thought that maybe the ref made a mistake. That we didn't even see the 3 count even happen. Like we saw the 1 to 2, and then everything went silent, and people started reacting kind of crazy. We saw Heyman get in the ring. He was standing by the turnbuckle, actually on his knees at a turnbuckle. And then, but the thing is that the reason why I didn't think it ended is because the bell never rang. There was no music. There was no ring announcing. There was nothing. And so we didn't know what happened. And then I think that became a reality when we saw on the big Tron, it's a 21-1. That's what really made it seem like the reality right there. And after that, they made the announcement that Lesnar won, his music hit, and it was just, I think, the craziest scene ever. So
Yeah, I remember when I never thought he would have won. I never thought Lesnar would have been the guy to break it. But then when I saw it happened, I was like, it was a mixture of shock and anger, because I was like, he didn't deserve that, man. It shouldn't have been Lesnar. Like, I would have been more happy with Roman Reigns, who was the second person to beat him. I would have been more happy with him actually breaking that streak, because looking at what he's doing now, it's like it would more suited him. And then I made the mistake of saying, if they're gonna have Brock Lesnar do this, they should make him the champion. And then of course that was one big cluster, because he was a part-timer and he barely defended the title on a monthly basis. Like, he'd do it every 2 or 3 months, and I was like, yeah, I don't really care for that. I know some people liked it. Me, I was like, nah. That's too much. To me, I just think he got too much privileges, man, and um, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what he does on Crown Jewel, but yeah, I didn't want him to get that accolade right there. But yeah, but that was a pretty cool wrestling, man. I never forget seeing that. I was actually jealous. I was like, man, the stage looked great and everything, and everybody was having a good time, and I'm here stuck in New York City, which in New York is nice, but I mean, I would have rather just liked to be there for the weekend.
Right.
So yeah. So in my opinion, man, so I gotta ask you as a wrestling fan, you say you like AEW, which and I like I'm not pro AEW. I'm not, or as a matter of fact, we are, and because Kathy and Rob share my same sentiments as well, as far as I know. We're not pro AEW. We're not pro WB. We're pro wrestling, so we like it all. But what in your opinion as a wrestling fan in regards to WWE? Because I've heard numerous complaints about WWE's not doing it right. What do you think they need to do in order to get back on track?
I mean, they need to stop giving the same people chances. Drew McIntyre was the champion on Raw for 300 plus days during the COVID year last year, and yeah, I think as I understand, he didn't win it in front of a live crowd. He won it in an empty performance center, and he had to spend pretty much his entire title reign in the Thunderdome. Which, yeah, the thing is, I understand it's kind of unfair. But the thing is that he still held the title. That's something a lot of people in that locker room were not able to do. So now you shift him over to SmackDown, and it seems like after Crown Jewel that he's going to be next in line for Roman. So I think that's kind of a horrible move. You're giving the same old people chances. You're like bringing back these like part timers, also like the Goldberg, who I'm pretty sure at Crown Jewel is going to squash Bobby Lashley. You're also bringing Lesnar in to get a title shot, which I really don't agree with as well. And if you listen to our show, that we always say that we don't like the part timers getting that title opportunity, and it seems like that's what they're doing with Lesnar. Just give someone new a chance. They're calling up these NXT guys during the draft. There's other people in NXT that I would love to see get called up for a title shot. We just did an episode about 5 superstars who could possibly dethrone Roman Reigns, and 2 of mine were either still in NXT or just got called up from NXT. I'm a big Walter guy. I've been big on him forever, and he's the longest reigning NXT UK champion, and I just absolutely admire his skill in the ring, and just his size alone, just the stuff he does in the ring is very impressive. And the next guy I said was Ridge Holland. I know he's Pete Dunne's lackey right now, but he's coming up by himself to the main roster on SmackDown. So I mean, if they use him right, I could definitely see him being world champion material as well. So I think what they need to change is just give us something different. They eliminated, it seems like, the women's tag teams. So it's almost like Nikki and Rhea have nobody to defend it against. You're breaking up tag teams that people are very big fans of. Like the New Day, they just reunited them on Raw, and now they split them up again. I love that they called up Hit Row. I'm a big fan of those guys. I'm happy they brought the Hurt Business back. So if you're gonna get the fans' attention, you have to start doing something different, and you gotta actually start doing what they want. We get the fans complain every week, so if you actually listen to them, I think you're gonna get more viewership on Raw and SmackDown, and even NXT, because NXT 2.0, I feel like is just a bad failed experiment right now, and I think it's a very dying brand right now. So I just gotta change it up, give us something different.
Yeah, well, NXT. I think what Vince is trying to do, he's trying to go back to the old formula where because remember he said, and like I said, for those of y'all listening, do not quote me. This is what I apparently read in a dirt sheet. He said, "No more midgets, no more people just starting out in their 30s." There are people that, I mean, DDP started out in his 30s, his mid 30s, and look at him now. He's a Hall of Famer, and he made it work for him. But I think what Vince is he's trying to go back to the olden days of, like, I guess like the mid 80s, early 90s, where we had like, a bunch of like former football players, martial artists, and so on. And he's trying to like build it back up from scratch. Me personally, I don't have a problem with NXT 2.0. I like it. But I'm just waiting to see. I personally think the only problem he has is Raw. Raw is just too big. take off the third hour or dedicate that third hour to something else. There should be no reason why a weekly episodic show about wrestling is more than 2 hours. No, that's a pay-per-view. And I hope Vince sees that and does something about it, because to me personally, everything is all right except for Raw. I like SmackDown. I don't mind seeing Drew go against Roman, because here's the thing: Drew's beaten Dean Ambrose. He's beaten Seth Rollins. The only man whose shoulders he has not pinned is Roman Reigns. I think that should be a WrestleMania match, though. That shouldn't be like, something that he just puts on a Survivor Series, because that way you got the Usos. And like I said, sometimes I even think I could write this stuff for them, because what I would do, I'd have the Usos taunting him, telling him that, yeah, you know what? You could never beat the tribal chief because you ain't about it. You ain't built for that. And Jey Uso, he's all, yeah, don't disrespect Roman. I'd have them going like that, and that would be, they could build off of that towards WrestleMania. But of course, I'm just a fan. Nobody's gonna listen to me. But I can only, at this point, that's why I like AEW, because AEW gives a bit of a it's another option, just like Impact, just like Ring of Honor. It's another option. So at this point with WWE, I'm like, look, Vince is gonna do whatever he wants to do. I'm just gonna watch it. If I don't like it, I'll turn the channel. That's pretty much it. But sorry if I'm rambling on. So tell us. I'm sorry. Go ahead, man.
I got nothing.
I thought I cut you off. But tell us, man. Tell us about. So you're 1/3 of World Elite Podcast. That's just my last question before I turn it over to Kathy and Rob. By the way, just a heads up: if you're an anime, Marvel, or DC fan, Rob's gonna ask you a bunch of stuff about that. So, and yeah, but my bad, Rob, just messing with you. But so tell us about World Elite, man. How'd y'all get together and make that happen?
All right. Well, one of my co-hosts is actually my cousin, Jordan, and he actually joined the show in January. We started the podcast back in November, so it was just me and one of my friends, Marcus. And actually, it's kind of crazy that Marcus and I live, I would say, a little over an hour away from each other. And a few weeks ago was when we actually met each other for the first time. We met each other at an LSU football game. We both went over there. But honest to God, I'm honestly not sure how me and Marcus even crossed paths to even become friends with each other. I guess it was on Twitter that he noticed that we were both from Louisiana. So I guess we just got into a conversation, and then one thing led to another, and we became friends. And he actually brought up the idea to me to start a wrestling podcast. We've actually wanted to do it for a long time, but we never had the equipment. We never had anything to talk about. So finally, in November, I already had a microphone because I already started my Saints podcast along with my friend Devin, and I already had all my stuff. So Marcus was like, "Do you want to give us a chance?" I'm like, sure. So finally, we recorded. We would always go through Skype, but now we do also do StreamYard just like y'all, and we do live streams on Facebook and Twitter. But I mean, it was just two friends that wanted to start a wrestling podcast, and my cousin Jordan was always a guest on our show. And then finally, I said, well, "Why don't we just bring him on as a co-host? I mean, he has nothing to do. He always on our show. So why not?" So finally, after our first live stream in January, I called Jordan back. I'm like, "Hey," I said, "get back on." I said, "We want to talk to you." Because I already talked to Marcus about it. And I'm like, "Hey," I said, "do you want to become a co-host of the show?" I said, "Because you always come on our show." I said, "You're always a guest." I said, "Well, why don't you come on and be a co-host with us?" And he's very excited and everything. So since then, it's been great. I mean, we've been interviewing a few independent superstars. I mean, we actually stopped doing that a while back, but I think soon enough we're going to get back on it. We've interviewed a few former talent from WWE. We interviewed James Ellsworth and interviewed Just Incredible. So we had a chance to talk to them about their time in the company and whatnot. But we did a few independent wrestlers and interviews. So it's been a fun thing. I mean, doing a podcast is very fun. Growing up, I was very shy. I didn't want to talk to a lot of people. So I found doing a podcast and doing live streaming actually kind of opens me up more to be more be more out there, be more open. So doing podcasts is a lot of fun. So if you're thinking about doing one, I say go for it, because it's an awesome opportunity just to put yourself out there and just to have a good time.
Yeah, and it's crazy how if you keep on keeping at it and doing it the right way, eventually more and more people get like to like hear of you and like for example, Kathy and Rob have told me, yeah, people have seen me and be like, hey, aren't you from that podcast, like Ringside Sound? You're like, yeah, and so on, so it's pretty cool and it's a pretty cool thing to get into. Um,
Hmm.
Me, I wasn't exactly. I was like you too. I wasn't, and sometimes I even think this podcast brought out like like the a side of me that I didn't even know I had because um when I first started, we were on Blog Talk. Nobody was showing their face. We were mostly audio, and it was Kathy and we had another co-host. And it was one time when I was actually and I couldn't be on the time because I was actually stationed in Japan. So I
Hmm.
finally was when I was stationed back in North Carolina. There was a podcast that I happened to like make an appearance on. There was an episode I made an appearance on, and our former co-host Paul was like, "You should stay on, man. Stay on, and just interview help us with the interview and so on." So I'm like, okay, I'll do it, And then eventually I was like, you know what? I think I'm just gonna stay on because I don't want them to feel like they're doing the legwork, and I'm just hiding because I was doing stuff behind the scenes, and so I just got on and I just it took me some time to like start getting like not it took me like a bit of like a short time to like catch my niche with it and just find myself and find that enthusiasm and so on. And yeah, that's how we still are today. And yeah, when I told you that your fellow Louisianan here, Kathy, was on 15 Minutes of Fandom, that's how. So I met her on Twitter after Chris Jericho read one of her tweets, and so that's how we started from there. And then Rob hit us up and was like, "Hey, you guys need help? You guys need help with the podcast?" And I'm like, "I don't have no space right now, but you could just be I guess, our hype man for now, for lack of a better term." And no disrespect, Rob, but I was like, yeah, you could be our hype man for us. Retweet everything that we tweet, and then space opened up, and now he's here. So yeah, it's definitely a fun thing to do. A lot of work behind it. Sometimes it'll be a bit frustrating because you're like, what are we gonna talk about this time, or is this person still gonna be on, or um, they haven't confirmed yet, and it's but at the end of the day it's pretty much fun and so on. So yeah, but that's great that you actually got your cousin on like on too, because that's cool that y'all family and y'all talk about wrestling. That's pretty awesome. I grew up with a cousin that he's 8 years older than me, but he
Hmm.
um he also likes wrestling as much as I do, and we still talk about it to this day. So
Yeah.
yeah. um, I'm sorry, you go ahead.
Huh? Oh no, we're good.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say something. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to Kathy. I know she has probably a lot of stuff to talk to you about. So Kathy, go ahead. The floor is yours.
All right, thanks, Remy. Hey, Dylan, how's your Sunday going?
It's going good. How was yours?
Pretty good, can't complain. So, being a fellow Louisianian, I have to ask, what's your favorite food?
Oh man, I think I'm gonna be that typical person from Louisiana, and I'll go with gumbo. I'm not big on jambalaya because I got sick one time eating it, and I'm that type of person that if I get sick while I'm eating something, I just can't do it no more. There's so many foods that I'm like that with now. Same with crawfish. I can't do it no more. I used to like it a lot, and I was eating it one time with my wife, and my stomach started feeling weird, and it's messed with me. And then ever since then, the smell of it, I can't do it no more. So I think to actually sound like I'm still from here, the answer's got to be gumbo for me.
Yeah, I like gumbo. Now, do you like the chicken and sausage or seafood or both?
Chicken and sausage for sure. I'm not a big seafood person at all.
Yeah. When it comes to gumbo, I have to go with chicken and sausage.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
and then talking about crawfish too, like I have a scar on my hand right there from peeling it. Yeah,
Ouch.
the claw caught me, so but I still eat it.
Yeah,
Before
of course.
when I was younger, I wouldn't eat it because I felt like it took too much time to. I mean, you peeling stuff for just a little bit of meat.
Pretty much,
So
yeah.
yeah, but then as you get older, I guess like you try new things, and I tried it, and I ended up liking it, so I still eat it.
All right.
What are the things to do in Louisiana? You mentioned just you and the Saints. What do you do?
Things I love to do. I mean, I love being with family. I'm a big family person. Since my dad and grandma passed, I think it brought me even closer to my family. So honestly, if I'm not doing something with them, I'm just laying low. I like to stay home. I like to play video games a lot. Or if I am out and about, I love going out of town. Where I'm from, there's really nothing to do around here. So I'm always going out of town somewhere. So I actually see about my mom a lot. She's disabled, so I see about her a lot. I love to do stuff with my wife when she's not working. She's working, a lot. So uh, I guess to sum it up, I just love being with family. I'm just a big family person.
Yeah, Louisiana's we're fairly family oriented. We like to hang out with and go to schools and do that kind of thing, and stuff like that. So, you mentioned so on your age you got married last year, and right before it fell apart. So, did you plan to did it go to plan, or like did the like in your wins because married like right before.
Um, I'm sorry, you're actually cutting out a lot. I wasn't able to hear really anything you just asked me.
Yeah, I'm having like internet issues. So
That's okay.
I was saying you got last year in March, and it was around pandemic. You had to pandemic put any damper on your wedding?
Actually, it didn't. We actually got married right before the pandemic really struck Louisiana. We got married March 7th, and it really didn't make an impact where I live at until I would say the week we came back from our honeymoon. I guess because of the pandemic, we kept our honeymoon short and we kept it close. So we went to Mississippi for the week. And our last night there is whenever they started reporting that a lot of the sports leagues started canceling their seasons, or I should say, just postponing them to a later date. That's whenever like the real first case hit a celebrity. I believe the first celebrity to really get it was Tom Hanks and his wife. And in the NBA, they had a Rudy Gobert from the Utah Jazz that had got it as well. So we started realizing that this thing was, not a joke. This was, real life. This was something that we really had to be careful of. So when my wife heard that, she started becoming really cautious. And after we left where we were, we actually went to the store and she bought like so much hand sanitizer and she started just kind of panicking. And I told her, it's gonna be okay. We just gotta be careful what we do. We gotta, of course, we gotta sanitize ourselves. We gotta be safe with everything. And when we came back, that's when things started locking down around here. And sadly, uh, past a year later, we're still the same. We were able to get out of our mask mandate for a little bit, but now that the cases rose up a little bit, we're back to it. I am vaccinated, so I was able to get away from the mask for a little bit at work. Sadly, we went back to it, so it's an unfortunate thing. Uh, but I haven't heard nothing about cases lately, so I don't know. Maybe we'll get back to normal at some point. I hope so because this is a tough world to live in right now, and sadly, my wife lost her friend a couple weeks ago due to COVID. So it's a scary thing to live through. She was only 22, got married 5 months ago, so it's a sad thing for her. I know she took it bad, but she had the rest of her friends to get her through it, and of course, I helped her through it as well. It was just a tough time. She's still taking it pretty rough, but like I said, she has me, she has the rest of her friends to get her through it, and I just hope one day that the world can go back to normal because, like I said, it's a scary place to live in right now.
I think you're on mute.
Weird. Well, I guess it's got this internet connection going. I don't have it, but can you hear me?
You're kind of cutting in and out on my end. I don't know about Dylan and Rob.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, you're cutting it out.
Yeah, it's the internet.
That's all right.
So
Oh, you're fine now. You seem fine.
okay. So you are a big Saints fan like me. That's actually a Saints blanket right here.
Mhm.
And you also have the dome filled. So do you talk about LSU or what about on that cast?
Well, it's called a dome field advantage, and I actually came up with the name of it because Devin and I actually started off with a sports network called it's called Downtown Sports Network. It's ran by a guy from, I think, New York. I want to say, unless I'm wrong, but it was called Downtown Saints. The Downtown Sports Network had basically a page for every team, and Devin was running the Saints by himself, and there was no podcast for that because Downtown Sports had a lot of podcasts already, but the Saints never had one. So one day I reached out to him and I'm like, "Hey, dude," I said, "Do you want to start a show with me?" I said, "We can talk Saints every week. We can preview games. We can recap them. If it's the off season, we can talk about different moves the Saints made if they actually do it." And he was more than open to do it. He's a really busy guy, so it's hard to catch him on a free day. But we have a weekly show that we do now on Wednesdays that we live stream on Facebook and Twitter, as well as the wrestling show that I do. So we mainly talk Saints football. It's never really that we talk about LSU football, even though LSU is kind of getting me upset right now, and I know that he came out with some news today about Ed Orgeron. So I'm pretty sure, even though we don't talk LSU on this show, we'll actually talk about it a little bit. Maybe talk about possible replacements for Ed Orgeron. So, but no, we mainly stick to New Orleans Saints football, though.
How do you think the Saints are going to do? They're doing pretty good so far. How do you think they're going to do the rest of the season?
Oh, actually started off pretty rough. I know we had that big win against the Packers in week 1, and that was their only loss of the season because that seemed like we woke Aaron Rodgers up to play like how he used to. We took a loss to the Giants. I believe that was one of our most embarrassing losses of the season because that was their first and only win of the year. Now, I mean, we're on a bye week this week, and we're getting players back after the bye. We're getting a lot of good players back. Michael Thomas is coming back. Marcus Davenport, Quan Alexander, Traquan Smith, just to name a few. So we're getting a lot of key pieces back that we could really use, and I think it's going to be enough to make a big run and possibly into the postseason. So I don't know. It's going to be tough. I know there's a lot of good teams out there, and the Saints are one team that no one's given a chance. With Jameis Winston under center, they're, I guess, very used to Drew Brees being under center. Now that he's not there, they don't want to give this team a chance, even though Jameis is playing well. So I guess it's a wait and see right now. We got Seattle next week on Monday Night Football. Russell Wilson not playing, so Geno Smith will be the quarterback. So I kind of look at it as a trap game. Just a wait and see, basically.
Yeah, with Drew Brees and everything, we're all, I guess, not starting from scratch, but we're, that's not here because Drew's not there. So it'll be interesting how this is going on moving forward throughout the season. Question before I turn it over to Rob. Talk about embarrassing. You were actually at the Raw that everybody talking about February. What was it? 18, 2019 in Lafayette, Louisiana, at the Cajun Dome, which Vince never ever says he always says the Cajun Dome, calls it by a too small city. So he always kind of just brushed us off, then. But you were at the Raw where everybody heard crickets, the terrible Raw. What did you admit being live? Was it as bad as it was TV?
Well, first and foremost, I think that it was Vince McMahon's fault for debuting great NXT talent in front of a very small crowd like the Cajun Dome. It was actually my first time sitting very close to the floor. I've actually never sat on the floor before when it came to either a Raw, SmackDown, or pay-per-view. But we were like one row from the ground, and we were like, just across from the Titantron. So, and that was actually my first time bringing my wife to an event. So she was so excited to go, even though she doesn't follow wrestling too much. She don't really care about it, to be honest. But that was her first time actually going to a show, and the crowd was not great. I gotta say that. I tried to defend them a little bit, but after the reaction that those NXT superstars got, it was kind of hard to defend it. It was not great. Um, I can understand the criticism that Lafayette got and to why possibly. I don't know if they're gonna get any shows upcoming. I know New Orleans was like the closest to me that was gonna get a show, but due to the hurricane, it was moved to Baltimore, which would have been night one of the draft on October 1st. So as of right now, I don't see any shows. Maybe a live event possibly going to the Cajun Dome, but as far as a Raw or SmackDown, I don't see it because just a negative reaction that the crowd gave. Big NXT superstars like Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, and others, and there was no reaction. Now, when I saw it, it was nice. I mean, because I'm a big follower of NXT, or say I was a big follower of NXT. Now I don't really keep up with it too much, but I don't know. When I saw those names, I was like, oh my god, they're gonna be here tonight. It's like that's awesome, but it seemed like the crowd really didn't know who they were, and it was kind of embarrassing just to be there. So I don't know. It wasn't the best show to be at, but just from letting my wife experience it for the first time, I think, and I can put that bad crowd aside for a second and just say that I was able to bring her to her first show, and she actually really enjoyed it.
Yeah, watching it from the viewer, because I didn't go live. I didn't have the money and stuff, in between jobs, stuff like that. Watching it on TV, I was embarrassed, not because of the crowd, but the content. Like, it was nothing but video packages.
Mhm.
To me, it bored the crowd to tears almost. That and the Saints had lost, so everybody was kind of quiet. We got cheated out of the game and everything. But yeah, Lafayette, for the record, is not like that time because I've been to plenty of Lafayette shows. They had a house show before the pandemic, so we were resorted to house shows. But they were loud and everything for that house show. Becky was there. That was another thing too. Wasn't there. She was like selling her injury and stuff like that. I think Seth Rollins promised to go. He ended up in like a video package. So it was content too. It wasn't just the crowd that was dead. So I just wanted to get like your perspective because you were actually there, and I was wondering if like WWE would pipe in cheers and stuff like that. And I know they pipe in boos, but I was wondering if they had piped in silence too. So just wanted to get it like you were actually there. I wanted to see like what the crowd. I know the crowd was kind of cheering for like Finn and Ricochet
Mhm.
because Ricochet had debuted that night too, and
Yeah.
they were pumped for that. So when stuff was happening, they were, but the night kind of cricket.
Yeah. Oh, it was bad.
Yeah. Hopefully we do get another chance because it's usually when in Louisiana they'll do like house shows in Austria and like Charles and Shreveport, and then
Oh, I think you're cutting out.
I was just
Yeah.
saying the show is terrible. If you have a show, you have terrible.
Yeah.
Thank you for Dylan. It was having you.
All right, sweet. Thank you, Kathy. So what's going on, man? How's this Sunday been treating you, man? You doing anything exciting, man? Watching some football?
Yeah, watched a little bit of football, keeping up with my fantasy team, who is getting embarrassed right now. Looked horrible. yeah, but keeping up with some of the games. I was actually following one on my phone. Cowboys Patriots. I absolutely hate the Cowboys, so I was hoping they lose. So yeah.
Did they end up losing, or what was the? I had it on my on Hulu on here on my laptop, but
They're actually in overtime right now, tied at
oh
29.
okay. I
Yeah,
turned it off when they ran the interception back. I was like, all right, yeah, nope. All right,
yeah.
yeah. I was like, man, I was wanting to go to the casino and do a little parlay and stuff, man. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take this week off. You know what I mean? Let me just clear my head this week. You know what I mean? Because yeah,
Right.
sometimes, man, I'll watch games. I'm like, jeez. And they'd be like, you're not even a fan
Oh,
of this team. Like, I know. I bet on the ponies
oh
and I'm betting
yeah.
on the football games. Come on. uh, uh.
Absolutely.
So speaking of that, man, your last name, Hey Bear. Did correct me if I'm wrong, but when I was a kid, the Saints didn't they used to have a quarterback named Bobby Haybear? And I remember
Yeah.
that my dad used to say that. I'd be like, "Oh, look, there's that Herbert quarterback." He'd be like, "No, it's pronounced Bear." You know what I mean? I heard, I'm like, "It's spelled Herb." Like, no, no, yeah. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, they actually did. I actually met him once because he does a radio show for the Saints, so I was actually able to meet him a couple of times. A very nice guy. Uh, but the last name I have, it often gets confused a lot. Uh, I hear Herbert, I hear Hebert, I hear it all. So whenever I actually heard y'all pronounce it for the first time, I was actually impressed. So I got to give it to y'all for that one.
That's because Kathy. Kathy made us take 5-10 minutes just pronouncing your name the other night. You know what I mean, on our conference call. It's like, nope, this will be done. Nope, nope, nope. Go again, go again. We're like, all right. Drill Sergeant Kathy. I'm just teasing. But yeah, you're talking about the crowds down there in Lafayette and stuff. I've never been to a Cajun crowd, man. I'm here in Delaware, and I'm always used to the Philly crowds, man. Philly crowds
Mhm.
get a little wild, man, but they're passionate though, man. They're pretty cool though. But
Oh yeah.
I do I was at SmackDown a couple of weeks ago, and Pat McAfee come out with the Sandman entrance. You know what I mean? He
Mm.
come out with the kendo stick and all. He didn't drink any beer, smoking cigarettes and all. Man, that would been awesome if he did that, smashing it. But yeah, it was still cool though. So yeah,
Oh
he
yeah.
showed Philly love. I would love to go see the how y'all Cajuns are at a wrestling thing, man. That'd be awesome, man. Try y'all's food, man. Just out there tearing it up. Oh man.
Oh, for sure. To go to a good show, you kind of have to hit New Orleans. I feel like that's the best crowd for Louisiana because it's one of the biggest cities around Louisiana is New Orleans. I've been to quite a few shows, a few Raws, SmackDowns, of course, 2 WrestleManias, and then an NXT takeover over there as well. So yeah, that's absolutely the best crowd to be around is New Orleans.
That's right. Now, do you frequent a lot of indie shows around your area?
Actually, not. Louisiana's not huge on the indies. We actually, like I've said at the beginning, we spoke to a lot of indie superstars, and we always asked them if they've ever worked around Louisiana, and they always say no. Uh, the closest to me they've gotten is to Texas. I know Texas has quite a few indie spots over there, and we've been trying really hard for a while. She even followed our show on Instagram. We've been trying to get Thunder Rosa on our show, but now that she's with AEW, now she's really busy, and unfortunately, her pay went up to get her on the show. So we've been trying to figure out, how much it is. She never really told us yet, but she has followed our show, so we've been hoping to keep in contact with her to, talk about. Because I know she runs an indie promotion over there in Texas, so it'd be nice to get her on, talk a little bit more about that. But as far as indie shows around here, I've been to, I would say, 2 of them, and it was absolutely the smallest thing of all time. Like no one no one that's really made it outside Louisiana, and they've actually were able to get a few former talents over here. They were able to get Hacksaw Jim Duggan, One Man Gang. I missed a show where they were actually able to get Doink the Clown over here. Uh,
Nice.
so yeah, I mean, not the biggest names of all time, but for a small town like where I'm from, that's considered big. So I've actually able
That's
to go
right.
to a few shows over there. I mean, of course, it's not the biggest names ever, but wrestling's wrestling. He's got to enjoy it
That's
in
right.
one way or another.
Rebel, you were gonna say something?
Yeah. you may not get Thunder Rosa, but a guy I would highly recommend you talk to. Two people.
Mhm.
Her husband, Brian Cervantes, who's one of the people behind Mission Pro and has actually been behind scenes for other promotions as well. And her son is wrestling, Anakin Rosa. He actually had his debut match a couple of months ago. So I would definitely recommend those two. Great conversation and whatnot. I actually enjoy those as well. And don't feel bad. Thunder Rosa was actually difficult for us to get to, and then I don't know, somehow I guess Kathy worked that little charm that she has and got her to come on the show. So yeah, I don't know how
Nice.
she does it. I mean, I'm pretty good at
Man, it's hard to
booking,
say no
but
to
she does
Kathy.
some stuff.
Yeah, Kathy
Yeah,
smiles and
like
stuff,
I had
so I
one
say no.
like one time I was she just caught me off guard. She's like, Remy, guess who I got? And I'm like, who? And she's like, what was her name? Brittany Nicole from Elevate Pro. And I'm like, I'm like, well, bring her on. I mean, shoot, when can she come? And she's like, October such and I think it was like, no, it was early this year. And I was like, yeah, we'll have her on, of course. So yeah,
Right.
that's what I talked about with podcasting earlier. It comes with the territory. It's like some people will say no, some people will say yes, but they're busy. And it's all a matter of timing. I mean, I've had people cancel a day before, and next thing you know, just give us some time, and then we hit them back. Hey, can you still do it? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, let's make it happen then. So it happens.
Mhm.
Yeah. Thunder Rosa was cool. Yeah, she's awesome. If you ever do get her on there, yeah, she's definitely awesome. That whole family, yeah, they're awesome. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was gonna say, man, if you're into indie shows, man, November 6th, 1CW, I'm gonna be reffing, a couple of those shows, and they're in conjunction with CCW. A lot of talented women are on there for CCW. You know, you got like the Renegade Twins, Cat Spencer, all the, a lot of ladies that have been at AEW, Dynamite, all that stuff, man. But yeah, definitely check them out, 1CW and stuff. It's gonna be on, I think, Title Match or Facebook and all that. Yeah, wherever, if you got time, November 6th, I mean, shameless
Yeah.
plug,
Oh yeah.
I mean, well, everybody, yeah, you can see me count this free. Maybe I'll get beat up. I might get beat up, what I mean? You never know. I might have to take a ref bump, and next show I'm in the neck brace, what I mean, for next week. So.
Nice.
That's right. So, man, I just I have a couple more questions, man. Real quick, man, since you're down in Louisiana, man, do you have to deal with any swamp monsters? I always ask that, people down there in the swamp, man. Because I was watching, it was Discovery or something, and they're saying y'all got something called skunk ape. What I mean? It's like Sasquatch, but he's in the swamp and he smells like a skunk. He's called skunk ape.
No, sadly, well, I wouldn't say sadly, but no, we
Yeah.
have not dealt with anything like that around here.
Okay,
I
sweet.
don't exactly live too close to the Gulf Coast. That's more like in the Lake Charles area, Lake Arthur and whatnot. So that's more closer to the coast. I'm more towards, I wouldn't say northern Louisiana. I'm just like right in the middle. I'm in central Louisiana. That's where I'm at. And so luckily I'm not around any swamps, any big rivers or anything like that. I'm out in the country, very quiet place, and just a place I love living because it's just so quiet. There's no drama, no nothing.
That's right. Yeah, that's why I kind of like living in Delaware, man. The only bad thing out here is deer. I mean, they might run out in front of your car in the morning and night. That's it. Yeah, man. Yeah, so you don't live anybody near lakes. That's pretty cool, man. Because some lakes, man, you got a lot of stuck up lakes. I don't like some of those stuck up lakes. Like, get over yourself, Lake Superior. Like, come on now. You know what I mean? Jeez. Oh man. So you're a gamer,
Oh
man. I gotta ask, man. Like, what are your favorite games? Are you a big wrestling fan? Do you play the wrestling games? Because I like Fire Pro. I like some of the 2K games. Not like 20 or whatever. But the older games. I like doing GM mode stuff. But yeah, you're a fan of gamers or game, and what's your favorite?
well, being that I'm a big sports fan, I love to stick to the sports video games as well. Of course, Madden. I'm an Xbox guy, so I had the Series X,
Same here.
and luckily they were able to put out MLB The Show finally for Xbox, so I
Oh
was able to
yes,
snatch that up and
yes.
and and finally play that because I was actually leaning towards getting a PS5 simply just for the MLB.
Yeah.
So I wanted to
That's
do
why I
that,
got a
but
PS4 so I could play it. That's why I have one.
Right. Yeah. So, luckily, I was able to get MLB. Stick to a lot of the sports games. I'm not big on like Call of Duty or Fortnite, whatever everyone else plays. I'm not big on that. I'm that's not for me at all. But wrestling wise, I think that 2K20 was the worst game I've ever played when it came to wrestling. So many glitches, so many problems. It just made it unplayable for me. So I really think that them skipping a year and actually putting it out at a later time next year is the best move for them to work out their problems, to actually get the roster intact with all the releases they've had. So I think that's possibly the best move they've ever made when it came to releasing a video game. And from what I'm hearing right now, is it's looking good. So I got a lot of hope for the next wrestling game to come out. I'm hoping it's better than 2K20, but I think anything they could possibly do would be better than
Yeah,
that. So
that's
yeah,
right.
that's what I stick to. That's what I stick to. I stick to a lot of sports games. I love playing wrestling games. And if I'm not playing a wrestling game or playing any video games at all, my wife loves to play The Sims on her laptop, and I kind of watch her play it
Mm.
sometimes.
See, I can't
Oh
play The
yeah.
Sims, man. If I start playing that, my day's gone. I'll be there. I'll literally be like my sim, like hold my. I gotta go to the bathroom. I'm holding it as long as I can to the very end. I gotta eat. I'm going not eating to the very end. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, so I can't play that game. I keep it away from me, man. But I love it. I love it, but I can't play it. You know what I mean?
She plays it for hours, and it's a nightmare to get her off of it sometimes.
Yes, I believe it. I believe it, man. Just by
Oh
trying to
yeah.
get my self control and just, oh yes. But yeah, man,
Oh,
if you're ever
absolutely.
on Xbox, man, I have one too, man. I'm Rob Base 82 on there. Rob Base one of them. I'm on there too, man. Hit me up sometime, man. I play the show, and I don't have the well, I do have EA the Game Pass and all that. So if the new Madden's out
Mhm.
there on it, I'll definitely play it. But
Oh, for sure.
yeah, man, I do want to say, man, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule, come on, chat with us about wrestling, gaming, football, and all that good stuff, man. I had a blast. What I mean, I wish nothing but the best for you, your podcast, man. I hope you all blow up. Start interviewing everybody, all the famous people, man. I hope, yeah. I wish nothing but the positive things for you, your wife, and all that good stuff, man.
Absolutely, man. Thank you all so much for having me on. I had a blast.
Hey, Dylan, no problem, man. Like we know you're busy and whatnot, but we really appreciate you taking time out just to be on here or whatnot. And yeah, I wish all the best for your podcasts and whatnot and so on. Don't go too far because we're going to be looking to have you back on for one of our prediction episodes that we normally do it past 15 minutes of fandom guests. And also tell your cousin and your friend. Tell Jordan and Marcus we're gonna be looking to have them on the show individually as well too. So tell them don't go too far. So Jordan and Marcus, if y'all listening, we coming for y'all too, man. Don't. We mean that in a good way though. We ain't coming. We gonna pull up,
Oh,
but
absolutely.
we gonna look to have y'all on the show and whatnot. So yeah.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, man, before we shut it down, man, hey, where can fans find you on social media if they want to talk wrestling, check out your show, if they want to purchase World Elite merchandise?
Well, if you can see on the screen right now, I like to put my Twitter handle in there. You can find me at Real Dylan Hebert. There's absolutely no reason why I put real in there. It's just to add something different in there, I guess. You can find me on Instagram at Dylan Hebert. You can find our podcast on Instagram at World Elite Podcast. On Twitter, you can find us at World Elite Pod. We're active everywhere, so you can reach out to us anywhere if you want to be on the show. If you just want to tell us, give us good feedback about the show. Our show is on all listening platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, pretty much anywhere you can get your podcasts at. And then we do our live streams on Facebook and Twitter. We did a show earlier today, actually, before I got on here with y'all. We did a review on ECW's One Night Stand 2005 and 2006. So you could be watching for that later on in the week when I have time to finally edit it to get it out. It was a long episode. And then we do have merchandise out there on Pro Wrestling Tees. Just search World Elite Podcast on there, and we have a few t-shirts out there. So that's pretty much it.
That's awesome. So y'all definitely go ahead check their podcasts out. They're doing good things. I always encourage y'all Y'all out there to check out all the podcasts. I mean, still listen to ours, but I mean, check them out.
Oh yeah.
We're not gonna feel bad anyways. Like I said, it's like eating a different cereal. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I want Captain Crunch one morning. Sometimes I want some Frosted Flakes, or even different jams. Like I got 2 different kinds of jam right now. I got strawberry. I got blueberry. Sometimes I want to eat blueberry one day, strawberry the next day with some PB&Js. You know what I'm saying? So a little variety won't hurt anybody. Y'all definitely check them out. Give them a shout out. Whenever you check out their work and whatnot, because we podcasters, we don't just do this for clout. We don't just do this to just prove that show that we're better than anybody. We do this because we love this, and we do this for y'all, the fans as well. So our fellow fans, that is. So definitely give them check them out and whatnot. And with that being said, it's about time for us to shut down the show. My stomach is getting kind of rumbly. So that means it's time for a little snack. As a matter of fact, it's probably past dinner time. Hey, Kathy, you remember when we used to say it's dinner time? Wow, look how far we've come, man. Woo.
Yep.
Yeah. And then we got all cool and started saying what we normally say at the end of the shows. But with that being said, Kathy Knight, the destroyer of dinners. Please don't destroy my dinner, even though I haven't found out what I'm eating yet. Where can fans find you on social media if they want to talk wrestling and vignettes and great Louisiana dining and whatnot? By the way, I got to go to Blue Oak Barbecue down there in New Orleans. They're looking really good right now. But where can fans find you?
So I'm on, let's see, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, and Discord, all at BLUE70517.
Awesome. Rob Bass, the Mel Gibson to my Danny Glover, the Paul Wall to my Chameleonaire, the Eminem to my Royce the 5'9". And what else? The Charlie Haas to my Shelton Benjamin. Yeah, that's the other one I was looking for. Where can fans find you on social media if they want to talk wrestling? And where can bookers and promoters find you when they want to book you for their shows?
All right, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch at Rob_Base82, and then Facebook, YouTube, Rob Base.
Awesome. And if you want to find me on social media, not that I have anything cool to say, but who knows, maybe you'll get lucky and hear me say something. You can find me on Twitter under @TheRemyBlue. You can also find me on Facebook under the alias Remy Blue. It's a picture of me at WrestleMania 28. So go ahead and add me on those platforms. Our podcast is also on social media. Yes, we're on Instagram and Twitter under Ringside Society, at Ringside Society. We're also on Twitch under @Ringside Society 2019. And we also have a Facebook group as well. Yes. So just type in Ringside Society and you'll find our group. Join us. We got a lot of cool stuff going on in there. And we also have a YouTube channel. Yes, that's actually where one of the platforms that this episode and many others are being streamed through. And go ahead, just type in Ringside Society. Once you see that sweet, cool AF, dark blue and light blue logo next to Kathy there with the flames around it, that's us. So go ahead and subscribe to us. Don't personalize your subscription. Subscribe to all our videos because we got a lot of cool stuff coming up. We might have clips from wrestling shows, and we got a lot of cool stuff, cool shows, interviews from the past, like the Anakin Rosa interview, like I mentioned earlier, Jasmine Allure, Brittany Nicole, Nigel Rabbit, Princess Victoria, who was the first ever WWF Women's Tag Team Champion, and John Cosper, and Chris Bornier, and many others. So definitely go ahead and give us a follow. You will not be disappointed. I guarantee that. But with that being said, we just want to thank everybody that tuned in tonight live. Just listen to us. We really and truly appreciate it. To those of y'all that are going to listen to us later on, thank you very much in advance. And to those of y'all that hate us, can't stand us, really and truly wish we'd go away, well, like myself at a Golden Corral, Rob Bass at Hershey Park in Pennsylvania, and Kathy at a Po' Boy store with a buy one, get one free sale, we're not going anywhere for a while.
They hate us because they ain't us.
We ain't stopping. So with that being said, we just want to let everybody know that we're very well aware that everybody and their grandparents and their parents have a podcast. But we're not your grandparents' podcast. We're not your parents' podcast. As a matter of fact, we're not just any podcast. Hey, yo, Rob Bass, Kathy Knight, one time for the mind, one time for the people, one time for the wrestling culture, and one time for Dylan Hebert. Not Hebert, people. Woo! Not Herbert. The man's name right. Hebert of the World Elite Podcast. What type of
Woo!
podcast are we?
All right. 3, 2, 1. We're the Wrestling Fans Podcast.
That's right, we're the Wrestling Fans Podcast. Ringside Society, hashtag we are not the same. And with that being said, we will be back this Wednesday, maybe a bit sooner, who knows? Schedule subject to change, with another exciting guest, another amazing guest. Choose whatever positive adjective you want to choose, but it's going to be worth seeing. But until then, we're still going through a pandemic. So until this pandemic is completely over, stay safe, stay healthy, be excellent to each other, and party on, dudes. We out. Peace.
See y'all. Good night. Stay classy, Delaware.
Bye.